So we're just heading into Castelo Branco. Rosie and Missy have stopped at the china shop, get amongst other things some paints for Martin. And our main purpose of our journey is we're going into town to the swimming pool plumb shop, which has been recommended as the place to go for IBC fittings, because we need to get the fittings installed before we put the IBCs on the pallets, because there's granite behind them and we want to make sure there's enough clearance. Sadly, we've been to 4 shops in Castelo Branco and can't find any guttering, so it would appear that with rainy season around the corner that everybody's bought guttering. It's a bit frustrating because it's due to rain next week, and it would have been nice to see how the IBCs perform, assuming we get it all up and built by next week. So the quest for guttering as well as the IBC fittings is beginning. We're Those Weirdos, a family of 7.
Nearly 3 years ago, we gave up our conventional lives to live, travel and work in our self-converted Sprinter van.
July 2021, with the increase in travel restrictions caused by Brexit and the pandemic, we decided to buy off-grid land in Portugal to live a more sustainable lifestyle.
Follow along with our journey as we turn our beautiful but derelict land into our very own slice of off-grid heaven. Wildlands.
So we came to Regar Centro and we saw a lovely chap there. He was so helpful. So we've got an unusual fitting on our IBCs, so we had to step everything down. He showed us how to do it. So all these plumb fittings, and then that will go into the IBC. I'm going to use PVC glue.
What you doing, Dom?
I've got my threads caught. So after the nice visits to Renato Central, was it?
I don't know.
Which is the pool and plumbing shop. We've got our fittings. So what we've got to do is we've got to glue this in here. And we've got PVA.
Oh, it fits nicely though.
And we've got the plumbing, the white stuff. So that bit glues in there, and then it steps it all down to the end connector like that, which then fits the black pipe which is over there.
What are you doing?
Can't remember what it's called. Is it PFT tape?
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm just putting that in there, and then I'm going to screw all these together before I glue it in, so that they're all nice and tight, and obviously that is at the right angle.
What does PFT tape do? Why'd you have to put that in there?
So it kind of makes a waterproof seal. Same stuff that you use. I'm not doing a very neat job of it when you're plumbing in your house.
It's sad that given how neat that the fact that it has that screw end.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work. It just falls out.
Yeah, it doesn't even wedge in, does it?
Nope. No. So no, it's no good. Just falls out.
Do you want to tell us what we're up to?
So we're having to do what I call little jiggery pokery, because having been to the only place that's has all different fittings in vast array. This is not a standard size. He showed us 3 others that had smaller fittings. So he did have a thing that screwed on, but he only had 1, and he said he couldn't get any more and didn't think they were made anymore. So what I've had to do, I've made a bung on the end of here out of gaffer tape just to keep this rigid, so that I can put this PVC gel around the gap. So this bit is just to keep it sturdy, so that it glues in, and it's so I'm hoping that'll do the job. So I'm putting way too much glue on because I want it to make a seal and not let the water out. Yeah, it's much better doing it up at that angle. I think I'm going to wipe some of that off. So we're going to try and break the back of getting stuck in with this shade house today. So we're just clearing the area where we normally sit. Got Martin behind me. So we've cleared our table away from here. Got Rosie's lovely little garden down here, which is her pride and joy, which is just a temporary garden, but it's going to look nice. So the plan today is we've got to put another row of pallets on top of these pallets, and then over the weekend, as you'll have seen, Missy and I glued in the IBC fittings here, and we're going to give them another coating of glue on the outside just to make sure they're watertight. And we've got our 4th IBC coming today from Joaquin, so we'll get the IBCs installed on the pallets. And at the moment, Martin and I, after we've cleared the area in each corner, so that's about here under that wood. Oh no, that's screwed together, mate. So yeah, Martin just broke it all. What did you do, Martin?
I moved it.
You moved it, yeah, it was screwed together.
I was clearing the area. Like
so we got plenty of screws, mate. So yeah, this wood's just resting here and it's got wet, but roughly here, and then over there in that corner, and then somewhere out here, about here. So we've got to dig 4 holes, and then we're going to sink buckets into the holes and use that to cement the wood in, because we don't want to cement into the ground. So Martin started on the hole here. I'm going to sink these buckets, which are quite a fair size, into the ground on each of the 4 corners where the main upright's going to go, and then over down here where the uprights are laying on the floor. I've been measuring, marking out here where we're going to screw the roofing beams to. So that's the central one, which is wide. It's going to sit across like that, and then I've got to put 2 more beams in the centre of those 2 markings. These 2 holes are done and levelled, give or take, because the ground is not at all flat. So I've used a 3 metre length, padded out the pots, and then used the spirit level, which is slightly out, but near as damn it level, so that's good. Martin's just digging the last hole. That hole there is done, and then the hard bit will be going from right to left, which is 4 metres, to try and get them roughly level as well, so that the structure sits nice and flat. Looks like there's some lopping going on. We've got some roots down there. Roots no more. A new channel with Martin Houseless
Homemaker.
Homemaker. They have the pot in the ground. So it's worth saying that none of us have got any construction experience here, and it's much like everything off-grid. A lot of it is a complete learning curve. It's all stuff that we've not done before, so it's a case of asking advice of people that we know who might have achieved something similar, and or watching YouTube videos to get ideas. So what we're trying to do here is a very old-fashioned method of checking the levels on the ground, which is very bumpy. So we've got 4 plastic pots without holes in, so that when we cement we don't get any leaching into the ground, and also means that at a later date, if we ever want to take the structure down, we can just lift out the whole chunk of cement in the pot. And the cement really isn't there to give the structure a massive amount of rigidity, mainly to stop the water getting in at the base of the post, and most of the structural integrity will be once we start screwing the structure together and putting sides and fronts on. So I'll just talk you through what we've done in our limited construction skills. So Martin's dug 4 holes. We've got our 4 plastic buckets or pots in the holes. We've used a spirit level to check the back to the front is as level as possible, and then the same on the other side. And we know for a fact that this pot is at an angle and it's too low because the ground naturally slopes down there. What we don't know, which we need to resolve, is the gap between the back right and the back left over there is 4 meters. So ideally we need something 4 meters long so that we can at least get an idea that they give or take level with each other. And then when they're all level, we'll essentially be dropping the back structure into the pots, cementing around it, and then same at the front, and then using a spirit level to get those 2 front and back sections as upright and straight as possible, and then screwing parts of the roof on. And this tree is going to have to come down up here somewhere, and we're going to incorporate that into the structure but lock the top off. And then this front section here, as you'll see when you get to the end of the video, is going to be kind of wood cabin quirky style. So we're going to have banisters and an entrance made out of wood from the land, and then this front section will be our view, so that will be relatively open so that we can see over to the lovely mountains over there, currently obscured by all our moved stuff. And then this side will be relatively open so that we can still see Rosie's lovely garden and she can get to it for watering and so on. And then we'll also put lots of climbing plants around the structure to make it look nice. These pallets will be going back to where they came from. These 4 pallets, or is it 5 pallets, will be going on the top of them, and then 4 IBCs will go along the pallets at the back, so that when the roof's up, all the water can be collected in the IBCs. Lower pallets back in place. We've used our makeshift bit of wood, checked all 4 foundation pots, and they're all pretty level, give or take a millimetre. And you can see this pot here is level with the ground. This one's an inch or 2 higher, so the ground is sloping a little bit there, but this one over here, it's a good 4 or 5 inches. The ground sloping and there's a puddle there, but that's fine. Rather have the structure level, so all is good. So yellow tarp is down, double layer of pallets is in and screwed together. Pots are all level, so we're making some progress. So we've cut the upright front and back walls, made them a bit shorter because they were too long. So the back wall is 15 centimeters shorter than the front wall. to give us a flattish but pitched enough to catch the water, and they're about 2.5 meters high, which gives us clearance for when I do my fancy stick work on the front, which you'll see a lot later on. So there we go. So yeah, they're all the offcuts, and then the next trauma is obviously those front walls and back walls are quite heavy, and we've got to position them in here, maybe use some scrap wood to attach them to trees to keep them upright. Pallets are all done, waiting for 4 IBCs, but before the IBCs go on, these taps and pipe works that have been glued in need a second coat on the edge here, just to ease my paranoia, give it a bit of extra seal. And the 4th IBC is arriving today, so that needs gluing in. So good progress.